Hi there, my name is Adrian from Breda. I'm a professor of social work in the department, and I'm your lecturer for this first term of your second year of BSW studies at the University of Johannesburg. I was the person who was supposed to have been teaching you in the fourth term of last year, but because I was overseas in the USA for 4 months, working as a visiting professor at Appalachian State University in North Carolina, Zichle Maseko taught the course on my behalf. You would have had some contact with me in the WhatsApp group. You may also recall that I engage with you quite a bit around your assignments and assessments and exams and so on. But unfortunately, I didn't get to teach you in that fourth term last year. I'm supposed to be teaching you now in the first term of your second year, but unfortunately, once again, I'm actually going to be away. I'm on sabbatical for the whole of this year. And what that means is that I'm expected to sit here in my office at home and produce research publications for the university. And so unfortunately, I'm once again not going to be teaching you. I'm really disappointed about this, to be honest, because I love teaching these two modules. And I don't get another opportunity to teach undergraduate students during your BSW. So the first time that you and I might be in a class together is if you come back in a few years' time and do your master's in clinical social work. Instead of me, you're going to be getting one of my colleagues, Sol Mathebula, who has worked with me for many years now as an assistant in my teaching and marking. He was a BSW student here many years ago. He was a tutor at that time. And for the last several years, he's been assisting me with marking assignments. And in fact, he was one of the markers that marked your assignments last year on fields of practice. And so Sol will be teaching the classes this year, starting on Tuesday afternoon, the 13th of February, and for the following 7 Tuesdays. Last year, you will remember that you had classes on decoloniality and Africa. You had classes on social welfare and the development of social welfare thinking and the developmental approach to social welfare. You had classes on introduction to social work and its history, both globally and in South Africa. And then you had the course that, my course that Zichle ran on fields of practice and theories that inform social work practice. We want to build on all of that now in your second year. So you might remember last year there was a module on the planned change process and also on the generalist intervention model, which is the micro, meso, and macro levels of social work practice. And you would have had one class on that. What happens this year in second year is that you will have a whole term on each of those three levels. So this first term module that I would be teaching is on micro practice work with individuals and families. In the second term, you'll have a module that focuses on group work. And in the fourth term, you'll have a module on community practice, macro practice. In the third term, we move a little bit away from that just for a moment, and that is focusing on populations at risk. These are groups of individuals, groups of people who require special attention and some additional knowledge beyond just the generic practice that we otherwise are teaching you. So we really focused during the course of this year on those three levels of generalist practice. And in your internship, which you'll be starting this year for real, for proper, the first half of the year, you'll focus on micro practice and do some counseling starting in the second term. And then in the third term, you'll run a group, which is meso, and carry on with a little bit of one-on-one counseling. And then next year, in your third year, you'll start with group work and continue with micro and meso practice as well. So this year is really kind of quite a pivotal year. It's a foundational year where you begin to get your first real practice experience working not just in a mentoring relationship as you did last year, but now actually counseling children and potentially their families, children who are having difficulties in life. So what we'll be doing in this first quarter, these first 2 months of class that runs from mid-February until the first week of April, just after Easter, is to lay a foundation of knowledge and the initial skills for micro practice. We'll start off with a focus on assessment, which we did last year briefly, and we'll do it this year in a little bit more detail. And then we move through several practice models. These are theories or approaches to working with individuals, and we will cover during this year task-centered social work, cognitive behavioral therapy, the developmental social casework approach, trauma counseling, and then work with young children. And in the last class, we will give more attention to countertransference, which is those ways in which you bring your own life experiences into practice, and sometimes those can get in the way. And you did a little bit of work on that in the internship last year, if you think back to the self-essay and in the work that you did in the third term. So this term, this first quarter of class is really exciting because we dig into the actual practice of social work, and you'll be learning the skills and the processes and the theories that will inform the practice that you will do in term 2. And so it's absolutely vital that you participate actively in these classes, that you really study the models that we're going to do in class and the one that you'll do in your assignment, and that you then draw those forward from the first term into the second term in your practice with your clients. You'll have 2 assignments to do for me. One is a fairly substantial essay, a bit like the one that you did last year in Fields of Practice. This one will be on another practice model. We do 5 practice models in class, and then you'll do 1 additional one as an assignment. There's a set of 10 that I'm going to give you an option for, and you pick one of those 10, and that will be the assignment. And that's due just before Easter. And then after that, in May, once you've been in practice for a little while, you'll submit a short reflective piece. It's kind of a personal reflection on an experience of countertransference that you had during your work with your clients in the internship. And that pretty much pulls together this course. So I'm sorry that I'm not going to be in class with you this term, but I'm hoping that you're going to find it really rich and rewarding. Sol Mathebula is very well experienced, capable, and competent lecturer, and I think he'll be able to lead you through this learning well. He'll also be able to guide you well in the assignments that you need to work on, because he's actively marked on these now for several years. And so I wish you all the best. This year is a really exciting year. I remember my second year back in 1988, and it was the year also when I started my very first practice. I was working at Groote Hospital in the emergency unit. And it was terrifying and exciting at the same time. And I wish the same for you this year, that you may really kind of find your feet and discover what social work is all about. So I wish you a great 2024. I wish you all the best for this year, and I look forward to seeing your work. You take care. Cheers now.